So to our next group of Lightning Talk presenters, these I think we collected in a way because there's a lot of focus in our work and out in the world generally on the negative consequences of technology. And so for this second group, we wanted to highlight some ways to use technology to achieve positive goals. Or as I've been thinking about it, how to use tech to fight the good fight. So to that end, I'm going to want to welcome our first speaker of this trio, Josh Kramer, who's the head of editorial at New Public, with a talk on reconnecting public media to the public. Ooh.
All right. Let's talk about public media. So public media organizations around the world, supported by the public, have a mandate to serve and represent the people. These institutions are built not just to report the news, but to host the kinds of conversations that matter. Their independence, public funding, and especially outside the US, their trustworthiness is attuned to, oh, it's a little sticky, okay, tuned to and driven by the public interest. But for the past 15 years or so, that connection to the public has begun to fray as more and more people get their news from social media. These are private digital channels controlled by corporations that are run by billionaires. At this moment, real conversation on the internet is extremely difficult and has never been more fragile. All right. Here's a before and after at National Public Radio here in the United States as an illustration. In 2008, NPR added comment sections on every news article on its website. Less than a decade later, in 2016, NPR got rid of comments. They got sick of seeing their conversation spaces being trashed again and again by a small number of commenters posting unconstructive, uncivil, or intolerant content. So they let social media take over the job, especially Twitter and Facebook. But when you give up on hosting the conversation and you cede it to companies, what happens when they go crazy or just chase profit and growth at all costs? After Elon Musk bought Twitter, he labeled NPR as state-affiliated media, and things getting pretty toxic pretty quick. They felt like they had to leave. No comments, no social media, no audience. Another example comes from Canada. 2 years ago, the government required social media apps to pay media organizations for sharing news articles. In return, Facebook, instead of paying, decided to block all news in Canada. Even during emergencies, still, the CBC has no way to reach the 4 out of 5 Canadians who are on Facebook. Yet, in the next 15 years, I suspect we might see the pendulum shift back, pulling public discourse away from private spheres and into flourishing digital public spaces. Why? Because of work like Public Spaces Incubator. PSI is an unprecedented collaboration between 6 public service media institutions around the world and the nonprofit R&D lab where I work, New Public. It's a creative partnership formed to uphold meaningful reporting and our collective ability to talk about it. For the past several years, we've been working together to create new digital conversation tools. And the work is not easy. We've engaged hundreds of folks in brainstorming and design across many regions, countries, continents, languages, and cultures. Imagine how hard this is for a second, making sure that everything works not just in French, but Quebecois French, Franco-Belgian French, Swiss French. Over 2 years, we built more than 100 prototypes through workshops, co-creation sessions, build-a-thons, and in-person international partner workshops. We've been refining those features down to several that we're currently beta testing in several countries. Our goal is both small and at the same time huge. We're aiming to completely reinvent the experience of commenting on online news from the ground up. And here's what that looks like. We're exploring tough questions like, what if the conversation space could bridge across multiple articles on the same topic? What if journalists could call in specific perspectives that they think are important to hear from? What if readers could consider where they fit along a spectrum of opinion before writing their comment? And are there more meaningful ways to react to a thought than just a thumbs up? So now also, how can we utilize new technology? We're using large language models for some pre-moderation to help steer comments towards community guidelines. This is a structured, hosted space, not a place where anything goes. We're designing not just for the value to the individual user, but value to the public as well. Not a silver bullet, not a panacea. It's a toolbox, modular, customizable features that we're aiming to open source and release widely next year. And it's not just us. There's other efforts to reimagine the way we talk to each other in news, including at places like Google's Jigsaw, publications like The Atlantic, The Washington Post, The Verge, but we need more. This is the future we need to fight for. Public media orgs and other public interest-focused institutions, even libraries and schools, hosting conversation about what's happening in the world. We've tried a couple decades of letting Facebook, Twitter, and the rest take this on, but enough is enough. It's time for something else. Thanks very much.